has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
How did this...
You good. Now leave before you humiliate you.
There is...
The South Island race. Haplogroup A4A. I am a this good. Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
How did the...
You must be good. Now leave before you humiliate you.
There must be...
It's of course about I am the I know.
He would be the
Yeah, no. It's the also.
He looks toward the heart.
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
How
you must be
your fit?
The words.
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure.
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
How did
you must the word.
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
How
you the word.
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. All
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
Just like that, instinct took over. A solid strike straight into his throat, into the cartilage. You could swear you felt the soft palate break. The man is reeling, gasping for air. Time stands still around you. In the distance, the sounds of the harbor are falling silent. All you hear is a small gurgling sound as a trickle of blood appears on the man's lip. The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken down puppet of muscles and sinew. For a moment, he still tries to keep his head up, dazed eyes looking at you with unimaginable surprise. To your left is the button. As you slam your fist on the button, the man collapses entirely, his head rolling to the side.
Looks like you're the new measurehead now.
Her voice is surprisingly calm.
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go before he gets up.
Slowly and steadily. imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The already familiar code, the machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. 4952, and a moment of hesitation before entering the final numbers. 993. Calling. Calling. Still calling. Then
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. How may I help you? Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lammy. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos here. No. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
he thinks you're pulling a prank on him. On the corner of Voyager and Main, a large neon sign hangs on the side of a building. Video Revachol, 24 hours. It's raining and there is almost no traffic on the street. A woman's footprints in the mud lead away from the front door. Tiny heels tiptoeing down the road. Beautiful steps, light-footed with a lifetime ahead of them. You look up and the air seems to grow darker. Suddenly you feel like you don't want to hear about video rentals anymore. You don't want to hear about any of it. It was all shit. It's over.
That's enough for you today. Let's conclude this call.
The payphone hangs mutely on the wall. There isn't much more to do here. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably, the head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Blood? Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed. The drawer slides shut smoothly. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism, they represent a society in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You're not even sure where most of these countries are. You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines. Nasteb Encolada Bernal, and Exilus Buka. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers, your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a frita. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tournée is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. I'm sure most things are, if the young men who wrote this article are to be believed. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes as you leap the main feature though. You flip back to it takes as you leap the main feature though. You think instead where to even start. For one, and that precisely is what's problematic about at the end of the day. Sure, that's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of young man reads one or two books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality. If I had to wager,
You flip back to the front. It takes as you the main feature though is a long. You instead where to even start, and that at the end of the day, you see.
I can safely say the thought. You can still like it, Detective. Just because a couple of fools wrote an article doesn't mean it's true. If I had to wait.
You flip back to the front. It takes as you leap the main feature though. You instead where to even start, and that precise at the end of you see. One cannot.
Ah, come on. Well, if I had.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table, unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. The writer G. Martin remarks dryly that capitalists love wealth redistribution so long as it's only redistributed upward. You flip back to the front of the magazine. You skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side. The eternal problem, according to G. Martin, is that under capitalism, the worker is rendered incapable of perceiving their own agency or lack thereof. Thus, they tend to experience their own oppression as though it were happening to somebody else. Is that true? Have you felt estranged from your own self recently? You flip back to the front of unsurprised. You skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin. One of the editorials proclaims that the more the forces of reaction attempt to crush the body, the more defiant the spirit of communism becomes. You flip back to the front of the magazine. You skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer. According to these editorials, private enterprise is simply a means of organizing labor that would already happen regardless. It goes on to call the wild pines a nightmarish transnational leech sucking the life from the laboring classes of Martinez. You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprised, you skip. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies in the coalition. Why do communists love puerile insults? And they wonder why they're always being left out in the cold. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso of the hanged man, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time the lines intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart. The pattern still kind of has an ethnic feel to it, but nothing familiar. Gone. 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 For you to discover. You've gotten as far as you will without assistance. Someone close to the victim might know. Wow, so someone's been a little boring. Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
You? I wouldn't worry about that.
See? You're so regular and vinyl brown, he doesn't even want to talk to you about it. Of course you do. And maybe some black shoes or a pristine white shirt to go with that. It's official. My lord's copo type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even. A nation of regular law officials that you belong to. It comes, of course, with the usual benefits. Done and done. No actual communiques will be sent, of course. That would be too dramatic. Two buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. The crane stands tall, proud, erect, and still. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. This crane was built with a purpose, which has now been fulfilled. To move this container. Who can say? All you know is, it's special.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does. Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply. Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Because what wasn't an option? Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
A large table with two huge vacuum-insulated thermal coffee dispensers. Someone has forgotten a small plastic card next to the stacks of cups. Peer into a discarded coffee cup. You see nothing exceptional. It's a dirty cup, smudged brown, with old ground coffee stuck to the bottom, slowly getting moldy. Look closer. If you squint your eyes enough, the coffee grounds almost seem to make up two letters, F and K. It's a clue. A clue about the person behind all the murders. If you can't trust your own eyes, who can you trust? Certainly not Kim. He's so suspicious. You snatch out the red plastic card. It features a black contour of a crane lifting a container. The name, Etienne Hogarth, is written in the middle. Below it, in smaller text, member of the board. It comes with a magnetic strip meant to open electronic doors.
Container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, put the logos on. Container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister?
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen. Kind of makes you feel like an arsehole for no apparent reason.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder.
Sure is, mister. Sure is. Really livens up the place. Yes it does, yes it does.
I hate to break this bonding moment, but the red containers mean they are replacing the company livery with the union livery, which means this strike isn't gonna stop anytime soon.
Oh, sure, mister. About what? Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Evrard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Evrard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Evrard telling them to take some time off.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This guy could go on till the end of days. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who, no, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Oh, we're on a...
So no...
No, but Titus and his boys got into... Like what, mister? Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am.
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly. But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure.
For a fraction of a second, there's sadness in his eyes.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright.
The white rectangle on your clothes might not mean an awful lot in Martinez, but the recognition from an authority figure made Leo's day.
Oh yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh yes, I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done.
Power borscht, huh? Never heard of a borscht that turns little guys into dog fighters. Alcohol, however.
Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Oh, you want Mr. Everard then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighbourhood. Guys like Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys.
Patience. Deep down you have the mental power to keep listening. Not many would, but you do.
Had an arithmetics teacher, Miss Bellows. Her real name was Miss Bellams. She was a real pretty lady, but when she got mad... All the boys liked her, if you know what I mean, mister. We used to sneak in her yard in the dark and peek through the window. One time we saw Miss Bellows with a fellow. Yes, we did, mister. Yes, we did, mister. Indeed we did. Him was a big, big fellow. Used to drive the Troika near ours' school and everything. Them was all naked too. That's all I got to say about that. Thank you, mister. Almost forgot. Mr. Everard is usually in that container over there, but he already left for the day. He never stays after 10 p.m. Bye-bye now.
Draw has not lessened since you were last here. Your tent to your left. lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
He was acting tough before. This probably scared him a bit. Who knows when it will come in handy? A slightly scared, racist lorryman. Stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane." Not a good track record of mental health in that family. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal. Not a good track record of mental health in that family. What did he do? You have no idea what you did a week ago. How would you know what this guy did many centuries ago? High above you, the king's... A silver, not a good track record of mental health. What did he? High above you, a silver, not a good track record of mental health. A silver plaque, not a good track record of mental. A silver plaque on the statue, not a good track record of mental. A silver, not a good track record of mental. A silver plaque on, not a good track record. An old... A silver, not a good track record of mental. Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy during the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices. He called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person.
The man certainly knew how to live.
But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. Not just any nose candy though. We're talking Royal Philippian Blow, allegedly twice as potent as the stuff you find nowadays, and purple. Philippian cocaine was purple. Cocaine. His Majesty's courtiers said it helped him connect with the higher realms. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. This is slander. The king was just and beautiful. The revolutionaries made this all up. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum, a group of marble pleurons still surround the king's vandalized tomb. A deathly cold wind sweeps up candy wrappers and old newspapers. The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city. The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinez tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death. Small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on her face. It's the warmth of a winter night's fire. Maybe she could give you comfort and shelter, some cigarettes and food money. Maybe she's your nothing. Her smile just keeps widening. Her hair is gray like lead. No, this one is a monster in disguise.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you?
The smile on her face has disappeared, replaced by the wary aspect of a cornered beast.
Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buenguerro.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen. This man's got a hold over her, even 50 years later. You can feel it.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen, and schoolboys used to memorize all of his lines. Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this.
She seems to derive some bitter pleasure from this strange thought, as if the past will one day wipe the present away, like a tidal wave approaching.
I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Lawman. It was early spring, and the man behind the black sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Meth, it was a golden age. Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole. Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean.
She says that as if something narcotic is the real reason.
Oh, it's so much more than a high where I go, Harife. It's low. I go to the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely some kick. Some terrible kick in the dark. A sleep kick. Perhaps you can find out later.
Then it's contraband, Lawman. What? Do you want to take an old woman in? Be my guest. Lock me away like Bad Hand Hermenegildo. Of course not. To truly understand the Boyadero, you need to listen to On the Western Plain. It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring Boyadero. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain. Of course not. The Boyadero returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night, as he and his beloved are out walking along the river Maigret, she pleads with him to give up his riding and settle down. So the Boyadero strangles his beloved and throws her body in the Maigret. Then he rides off, because the Western Plain is calling to him. The most beautiful. A true Boyadero needs a whole horizon to himself. He can't be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a Boyadero.
What if to truly love a Boyadero is to float lifeless downstream?
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
You hear that, Lawman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
He's worried, but not for her. For you. What is it about this woman, if she's not connected to anything?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best communers around. I drive routes no one else will. Lomonosov's Land, Udashnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain.
A terrible cold comes over her, rattling her teeth as she stares inward.
The Transcatolia Magistral, you for 1A. Adestradas du Mirador, all the good ones, the deep trenches, where the bluebirds fly. You're right, Lowman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously. Thank you for looking out for me.
A correct appraisal. You're quite shabby.
Is that all you woke me up to say? What do I need drugs for, Lowman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, no drugs can compare. Yes, there is a protagonista and an adversario. I am on the side of the adversary. There's no coming back from that hole.
I don't like the sound of any of that. Sounds like a horrible drug. The worst one of them all.
Then what were you getting at?
This line of questioning is going nowhere. Try harder.
Why would I want to do that? Lowman, what in the name of God are you talking about? Maybe. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Grad, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Grad, Lowman? No, Lowman, diamonds.
Damn this. Make her answer.
Easy. He's the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. Also, he's the only one I can see from here. I would never make fun of a real lawman, Sheriff.
Ma'am, you're not responsible for what the client puts in your lorry, as long as the seals are not opened. We officers know that.
Lay off her.
Diamonds are good for you, lawman. You should try them sometime. Make yourself pretty like Eva de Zoras. Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the futures of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no?
Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Mesquite.
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing that up. Why do you keep the container locked?
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too. They put their trash there and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company. Yes. Sir, I'm sorry the RCM is having financial trouble, but it's not this establishment's problem. Yes. I'm not a fishing teacher. That is not why we keep our trash locked. Any place with a kitchen does it. It's not political, I assure you. What do you need them for?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. Can I help you? Can I help you?
The door is closed. Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? A lot. For the room? Yeah. Yes. Have you got it? Well? Great, perfect. I hope you enjoy your freezing cold room with the window you broke yourself. You've really worn down his patience. Even paying him didn't help.
I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Starting tomorrow, please pay for each night in advance. 20 real per night. If you don't have the money, it's over for you. Got it? You've got nowhere else to stay.
Time stops advancing after 2 in the morning. If you haven't paid for your room by then, it's game over. Don't leave finding money to the last minute, however. It's harder to make cash after nightfall when the shops are closed and the streets empty.
I'll take a room here too.
Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. And if...
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
I apologize, but I only brought one with me. I have exactly one cigarette every night while going over my notes. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will, and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we didn't really look at the body. And there's still much to do at the crime scene too. We didn't search it thoroughly enough.
He would have put all of this more harshly, but he doesn't want you to feel completely discouraged. Probably because he's afraid that you'll just give up and keep drinking.
I look forward to that. As for the interviews, we didn't get to meet Eva Claire, but we did get into the harbor. It'll be easier to reach him tomorrow. We tried to interview the White Palms rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. Fine, so be it. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
Alright, but, and forgive me, this is just something I have to ask. If you have shoes, then why aren't you wearing them? Suit yourself. But you should probably consider wearing them anyway. Well, and there's...
He would have put all of this more harshly, but
It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. I'm just going through the facts. As for the interviews, we tried, above all.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son.
Alright, but, and forgive me, this is just some... Suit yourself. But, well, and there's...
He would have put all of this more harshly.
We are both doing our best under the circumstances. Just don't drink tonight, please. As for the interviews, we tried, above all.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so...
Alright, but, and forgive me, this is just... Suit yourself. Well, and
He would have put all of this more...
As for the interview, we tried, above all though.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast.
Alright, but, and suit yourself. Well, and
He would have put...
we tried, above all.
I have a really good theory about...
Alright, but, and suit yourself. But you should probably consider... They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Ravachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Ravachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
When power calls you, you come. But power itself is a fragile trick of perception.
We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. Yes, the last time was 4 years ago.
He says it matter-of-factly and moves on.
That's an improbability, perhaps even impossibility. Precinct 41 is known for a higher-than-average rate of police violence.
He's not judging you. He's respectfully acknowledging the difficulty of working in your precinct.
That's an improbability. Precinct 41...
He's not judging you.
That's an improbability, perhaps. But Precinct 41 is known...
He's not judging you. He's
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couronne and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. And the moral intern, more broadly, but yes. The Moralists International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something ominous. Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me.
For you, she is something painful, though it's hard to say why.
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen.
It is more than
We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works. Our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Probably not. Anyway, positive change happens slowly. We never really get to see the impact of our actions. It's our... We run. It's incredibly... Me too. But I would... It's our... We run. It's incredible. That seems unwise to me. But it's too late for an all-out political debate. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
The bed is cold and not... A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Your hands, however skillful, can't... A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Your hands, however skillful. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Your hands, however skillful. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you just might be able to twist its parts into place. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet regains a recognizable shape. The steam stops. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's still not happening. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happening. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happening. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happening. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happening. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happy. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. Still not happy. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's like something snaps in you. A nerve ending. A thought. A sadness. Your face in the mirror is suddenly clean of the layer that had distorted it for God knows how long. Just like that, it's over. The running gag that your life had become. A sad old man looks back at you.
Can I help you?
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. The material delicate, the cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt.
Fuck does Kuno care? So?
You should thank him.
North Jamrock? Kuno meant everything north of 881. The rooster fucked Kuno's words up. Kuno doesn't do south, doesn't fuck with the Madre.
Kuno appreciates you recognizing him as the sovereign of Jamrock, though North Jamrock, that is.
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like jello!
Look, pig, Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on.
Good idea.
You got fucked. You got fucked, pig. Fucked bad. Of course you're gonna remember this. Now get the fuck out of here, griefing the Kuno. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
Yeah? Yeah, whatever. Yeah? The king, don't be wondering about Kuno's shit, pig. Fuck does Kuno care about your hunch? That's your shit. You figured it out. Yeah, whatever. Yeah? Don't be wondering about... Of course, don't be wondering... Fuck does... Yeah, whatever. Yeah? Yeah, what the fuck about it? Just a lot.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty
Probably... You heard... I don't mess or... Yeah. Kuno's...
End of conversation.
Fuck it.
He says you're stupid. They're lost without...
Why don't you figure Kuno...
End of conversation.
Fuck. He says you're stupid.
Where's the fucking shit? Fuck.
He says you're...
The pain of the word.
Your test...
Get lost.
Kuno does...
This trash container is locked. With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't. Of course you should. This is your time to shine, Hobo Cop. Dive into that dumpster for extra content. There is, but you won't like it. Sweat forms on your brow. Your hand is still on the lid. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. You see milk, An egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below. And turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air. This feels like something you should return to with Lieutenant Kitsuragi present. Also, it makes you feel like an idiot for not having an evidence bag on you. What will you do with a dead man's trousers? It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels mostly. Unidentified sludge and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, nothing. It's nothing. Nothing more to see here. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
You asking me now? It's some shit copper. How should I know?
Hey, maybe it's your paperwork, officer.
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory.
Wow, an Armistice caliber 50 knock cannon, half wrapped in paper tissues. So shiny. It's a giant rifle, and it's very expensive. Not as expensive as that fat string of pearls snaking around the rotten banana peels, however. And is that Cordon Electric's preamp with Electra F2 tubes? It is. That catches quite a price. We're talking 12,000, easy. Unless you're into hi-fi yourself. No, you won't, because none of those things are real. They're not actually in there. All you see is food waste and crisp wrappings. All you see is a broken mug with a racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. Only in its social sensibility. You betcha. The container sounds a muffled gong. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. The container sounds a muffled gong. It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? But it was in the trash. Why not just call it out when you see it? Or do some volunteering work? Just finish your case, detective. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Face the desolation. This is your ledger. You're a cop, and it's your official ledger. In your hand, and it stinks like you, too. And looks like you. Below the pathetics? Terror. Do not look into its blue heart. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. If you want it to be kitchen tissue, it can be kitchen tissue. Still wet, the toilet paper, kitchen tissue, peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. To be honest, you have little to no idea. You're dumb and alone. Somewhere, not here, the helpful Lieutenant Kitsuragi is making notes in his blue notebook. He tilts it ever so slightly. A glowing rectangle catches the light. He could advise you with this. The next moment, a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand. It's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered with faint red lines forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files, commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins, yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close, you don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter. You don't exactly close them. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper, some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. A tool for manipulation. Give the lowest amount and people will be ingratiated to you. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Blue. The blue heart. Don't look into it. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. There's pain in there, if you want some. That much you know. With your hands, U4 sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of paper. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just... It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage. It's proving to be harder than expected. The face of King Frieza. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It's proving to be harder than expected. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It's proving to be harder than expected. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It's proving an aluminium block, a bunch of sodden papers. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It's proving to be harder than expected. An aluminium, a bunch of sodden papers sag. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41. Then, date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the next world mural. 41 is your precinct. It's safe to say those are the initials of the officer responsible for the case. Your initials. No, the alphanumeric begins with HDB. Fine, it takes about half an hour for you to piece one together. Mr. Raphael, which one do you want? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the next world mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. In any case, it appears to have been a rare case of civil activity in the quarter, and agreement as well. What do you want to tackle next? This one, the true people, the case file, the crew, the 9,000 peoples, a staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? This, true people, the crew, a staggering 78% of voters. Did someone ask what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet? This, true people, the graffito, the case, the crew, a staggering 78%. No one cares what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger. AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop displaying his genitals and for Burke to stop attacking things would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition, because that's where the action is. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? No, that's Burke. Leslie's shtick is flashing his genitals, remember? How will you ever solve the unsolvable case if you can't even get that straight? Well, turns out it's pretty simple. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have confused it with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're also drunk. Drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face, then proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows, but both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved. Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Does that sound like a Raphaël something Costeau to you, sir? Fine then, you've earned it. You was Leslie, the only one you would threat. It's plain to see. Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. He can't wit. Does that sound like a Raphaël something Costeau to? Damn it, take it anyway, since you so obviously want to be a detective Costeau. It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Don't worry. One day. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Yes, as you said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes, and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, Coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum-tum-tum at the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Stephen was his name. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. It takes about half an hour to piece one. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden... It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of paper. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend the plastic on your knee slowly, the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The aquarium costs extra. These let you go there too. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum, apricot flavored. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says Tutti Frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters in a woman's hand. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. A merciful wind blows in from the bay of Revachol, dusting the ground at your feet and raising newspapers far away. You feel the card slipping into it.
Let go.
Frisson covers your entire body, a feeling of cold, a persistent chill. Your hands shake, holding onto it. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
More like the sun fluttering somewhere in the basal ganglia. That's me, blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion. Even in the darkness he's grasping for it, still trying to hold on to the great sorrows slipping in the water. Slimy. Here in the paleo-mammalian cortex, we call it the shadow. Because it's always there.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on pause. Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing.
Beautiful. Believe me, stupid ape, its lack of beauty was not the problem.
Bloated corpse, don't prod at it. It will start moving again. You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Oh, but you are. They're pouring something on you. Something in you. It's
delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water runs down your chin.
Drink. Water. No drink.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself, as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? There was a call on the shortwave. Officer passed out in Martinez. I had a feeling it would be you. I'm glad I got here in time. I don't know. It could have been quite a while. That does sometimes happen. I found this next to you. I'll tag along for the rest of the day if you don't mind. My business is concluded anyway. Are you okay to go? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses. Find it under the Tools tab in your inventory.
It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board. Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. Inside, you see 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. It's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult to breathe once you've done so. The drawer is locked. Blue ink drips from the white pages in your hand. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers. Without resistance, the words just crossed your mind somehow. Who do you think? You. It's slightly, ever.
Yes?
Can I help you?
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Attaboy. It's coming back to him. You had your mesolimbic reward pathway worried there, not thinking about drinking all that time. It was like you weren't yourself. Forget about the bar. Or don't forget about it. You should totally try to get a drink there too. But first, you should lick that stain off the counter. Yeah, man. Let's get wild. Lick it. You press your tongue against the counter. The stain is crusted at first, but after a couple of licks, it starts to melt like a snowflake. If snowflakes were made of spiced black rum, maybe it's your imagination, but there's already some lemonade in it too, and some human hairs. It would go well with those cigarettes. That's a great combination.
Can I help you? Do I have a shaker in my hand? Is this a shaker?
He sounds irritated.
Am I wearing a little bow tie? Am I wearing a bow tie and doing this? Am I smiling? Do you see me smiling and shaking my little shaker? No. Do you know why? Because I'm not a bartender. I'm a cafeteria manager. Is there anything else you wanted? Well, you're not getting it, arsehole! Now, was there anything else you needed? Do I...
He sounds irritated.
Am I smiling? That's right, I'm the cafeteria manager. Even more reason for me not... Do I...
He sounds irritated.
Am I smiling? That's right, I'm even more... Do I have...
He sounds irritated.
Am I smiling? Because I'm not a bar... Like what?
It is the dead of night. Now is not the time for sitting, but for sleeping. It is time to find a bed. Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order. It was brought to me to be altered.
The light's buzzing resembles the purring of a cat. It seems very much at home here.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. The light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small, has a price tag. Well, there are the costs of removal and rewiring. The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says, Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. If police work means playing tapes, sure. You can use it for that, or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres, even though I don't really like music. And here you are, quality sound reproduction on the go. It'll play anything, wherever. Turn any tape into a conversation of sounds and shapes.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Try to find something pretty and cool here. Then use it to win her back. Yes, buy something nice. A figurine. This sounds off. You shouldn't trust this guy. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
A classic set. The figurines represent the 5th century Franco-Nigerian cavalry.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets. That they do. The uniforms are precisely the same. Some even have the same shaped medals pinned to their chests.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the Royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Okay, I don't like either set too much, to be honest.
He seems to have his own take on the conflict played out in perpetuity by these toys. Might be interesting to find out what it is. This set...
I think their poverty has been exaggerated. I don't like either.
He seems to have... This set...
I think their poverty has been exaggerated. I don't like...
He seems to have his own... This set...
I think their poverty has been Maybe.
He seems to have his own take on the conflict played out in perpetuity by the... You see rows of toy soldiers guarding. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations. Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
That was a very smooth salesman's grin that almost comes off as earnest. You should learn from him.
If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities. Officer, please. I'm serious. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise. All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travellers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what?
Of course. It's in working order still, isn't it? Just pick your tape and set it spinning. It all starts with the tape. Let me have a look. I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. And especially that tie It swallows photons around it. I have no need for necrotic objects.
Your mother is a necrotic object! I'm fun! Look at me sparkle in the light of the projector!
Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No sale. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Sell me something lighter. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
No one likes to see what you have to see every day. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
What? Sold?
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind.
He's not telling you the whole story. It seems he's trying to spare you.
You weren't quiet yourself, officer. You were very distraught. You said the gun was a threat to your life and that you can't trust yourself with it tonight. And that you need the money. When I said that I don't normally buy firearms, you put the gun barrel in your mouth and sort of sucked on it. Then I agreed to take it.
You sucked on a gun? Good. Very normal.
$15 real. It certainly does. Especially in Revachol. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying. Sure, man.
He's doubtful, but doesn't see the point in contradicting a notion that is so dear to you.
Truth be told, she was terrifying. Oh, I certainly hope not. Truth be told, she was terrifying. I hadn't considered that. This is why I don't like to deal with guns. Truth be told, I wish I could help with that, officer. But I don't know where she was from or where she was going.
He's trying to ingratiate himself with you by anticipating your questions. He knows he shouldn't have sold the gun.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes, guess what's yours? That is only a ludicrous daydream. Guess again. You're the... No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be fine. Don't worry. Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1 million.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? Is it? Spring is capricious, yes. The pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard, he's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.